So you say, what about the brain? I mean, we're engineers, right? We want to build something. We want to build something that's intelligent. It'd be a little silly to ignore the fact that we actually have a working prototype, and we're trying to do this really hard thing. We should look at the prototype. And, human minds are not perfect decision makers, but by and large, they're actually very good. And even the cases where humans are famously not rational, there are many cases there where you can actually say, well, they are rational if you think of their goals in a different way. That's a whole sticky subject. We'll talk about that later in the course. But basically, human brains are in many ways better than what we can build. So let's just reverse engineer them. So it turns out brains aren't as modular as software, and they're a whole lot more squishy. And so they're hard to reverse engineer. And because we can't reverse engineer them and we have a very limited understanding of what our brains actually do, we really don't kind of reverse engineer them and build a kind of biomimetic brain. And in particular, there's an idea which, this is one point of view, but I think it's got a lot of merit to it. People say that brains are to intelligence as wings are to flight. And that is to say that the biggest breakthrough in manned flight, does anybody know what was the biggest breakthrough in manned flight? Stop making the wings flap, right? Stop trying to make a really big bird made out of metal or something, or fabric, right? And so this idea of, okay, maybe the wings can be fixed because we're going to be going faster, we're going to be going higher, it's going to be rigid. And so when people started thinking, okay, we're going to learn something about aerodynamics from the proofs of concept, say the birds, but we're not going to just slavishly mimic what's in the biology. Same thing with the brains. We're going to learn what we can, but we're not going to just mimic that because we've got different constraints and a limited understanding of what the brain does to begin with. So, what do we actually get? Well, we do know something from the brain, and it boils down to this at kind of the very highest level, that we know that in order to make good decisions, there's really two parts to that. One way you can make a good decision is by remembering that in the past, you did this thing and it was bad, so you know not to do that thing again. That boils down to memory. That leads into learning, machine learning, and that's going to be a big part of this course. The other way you can make a good prediction is through simulation, having a model of the world, where you think, all right, what would happen if I do this? Well, then this would happen. Then this would happen. Oh, and then that would happen. That would be bad. And so you can realize that something's a bad decision by thinking through a chain of consequences, not actually doing that chain, but thinking it through in a simulated model of the world. And that's going to occupy the first half of the class, when we think about what it means to have a model of the world that's an abstraction of the world, and what it means to think ahead along a kind of tree of outcomes.